Welcome back one and all, my name's Eltimar, and we are going to be continuing our Let's Play of Torment, Tides of Numenera. So I was looking on the map, this is actually the Katina interior. We're going to go inside and take a look around. I thought the ship looked very familiar, and I was correct. We just couldn't get into it from the other side, which makes a lot of sense, because this is the door apparently.
Or is it
and
the
so
other way?
look out the window, there's ghosts in here. Spooky ghosts. Made of ghosts here. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa. There's loot. Oh.
Alright.
It's just an oddity. So some shins. That'll be good, I guess. Let's go grab this thing. There's a weird glowy here. What is that? Oh, more oddities to sell.
Yes. Now.
A pale blue light pulses gently. The air in the space feels charged. Almost solid. The small glass control panel, apparently hovering in the air, winks with the light and fills with tiny images. You raise your hand to touch the panel. Before you touch it, the ghosts materialize around you, crowding you with their intangible presence, with their need. The nearly transparent Vargellan speaks. What do you intend with this? Suffering will come if you persist. I'm going to ignore the ghosts and continue to interact. You study the control panel carefully. If the Katina were in motion, you suspect that it would convey much more information than is currently available. As it is, you're able to see that it has traveled to thousands of destinations along a route that follows a specific dimensional pathway, on a circuit that, if you're reading this right, reached through the stars. The panel brings up a wealth of information about the Katina's systems in the form of tiny animated images. One of the icons appears to initiate the sequence to eject the Katina's power core. Okay. You press the icon. Immediately a host of other icons spring to life. From what you can tell, multiple steps must occur before the power core can be removed. You'll have to draw the power source from the assembly, direct it into a containment unit, and then cause the containment anchors to release. Then you can extract the unit from the machine. It seems like this should be fairly straightforward if laborious. The Vargellan ghost interposes itself. We are concerned. We ask you to reconsider. You ignore him and press another icon. Lightning begins to dance across the panel. If you're not careful, you might get hurt. We'll just eject the core. Machina, make it happen. It appears that the arcs fire in a complicated pattern, but a few moments of regarding the pattern settles it into your mind. Your fingers dart in and out until at last you manage to complete the process. The power core has been ejected from the assembly. Now you need to move it into the containment unit. You start that transfer sequence, but suddenly the control panel goes dark. The ghosts thicken around you. You will doom us to oblivion. Under their voices, a stronger undercurrent thrums, a subsonic pulse that quivers in your gut. We are machinery masters. Let's just do this. You tap the broken power image, the old icons disappear, and a new screen of options appears. You study it carefully. One of the images shows an alien claw swiping through a complicated series of gestures at the panel, then pushing an icon that looks like a wave. You imitate its motions, and the panel winks back to full functionality. Now that power has been restored, you're able to complete the transfer of the core. It appears, at least according to the instructions, that the only task remaining is to remove the containment unit. Unfortunately, the unit appears to be stuck. The column of light has locked the containment device into place. It seems the Katina is working to stop you. The ghosts of the passengers crowd around you, and though they cannot touch you, they can distract you. Light shines in your eyes, voices fill your ears, and all of them whisper and urge you to stop what you intend. Let's just disable the containment field. Leaning close, you study the icons and symbols, trying to ascertain their meanings. It looks like you need to enter information in the proper order. You settle in for an applied experimentation. Slowly and methodically, you uncover the correct sequence. You enter it, and the containment field winks out. Please stop, the ghost whispers one. Please. You open the containment unit, revealing a single functional power source. The others are silent and dead. You examine the active power source more closely, and a sudden shift in perspective leaves you nauseous.
I'll remember that.
It is as though you look down upon a billion stars swirling around holes of pure emptiness, a darkness deeper than anything you have seen before. You see red lines shift towards infrared, and then blackness, and then holes burst open in a fountain of brilliant white. The foundation scatters. Stars that circle around new holes fade to black, and the cycle repeats. The Katina seems to have run on collapsing singularities. The lights in the Katina flicker and dim, fading slowly as the residual power within them expires. The further lights go out first, darkness marching along the Katina towards the power source. As the slow wave of darkness builds, it snatches the ghosts into oblivion as well.
All right.
Well, goodbye, ghosts. Why is Eridus down here by himself? Did he want to talk?
What's on your mind?
Nothing. Nothing's on my mind, Eridus. If nothing is on your mind, we're good to go. So we have the transdimensional power source now, which means we can go to the transdimensional scalpel thing,
If you want a job
which
done
will
right.
also let us complete the Rin quest. Yes, I use Papa Google, so sue me. Daddy Google helped me out on this
Let's
one.
go.
I'm gonna call it that from now on, because it makes me smile. Let's go give the Vargellin experimenter the scalpel pieces,
Done.
which is not quite right here, but pretty damn close. We're gonna then go help these guys out. We're gonna cut this maw open. It may have sealed shut, but we're gonna hack it back open, maybe. I don't know if that works. Yoxu. I'm going to show him the power source I found in the Katina. Would this work? He gives it a cursory look. Connect it and see. It's a simple matter. If you're successful, I will see what can be done about the blade itself. How do you turn off the field generator in the middle of the room? The underside, close to me, a switch covered in supple material. When thrown, deactivates the device, but I beg, do not do this. Its strength is what keeps the bloom from devouring me. All that I have accomplished in life will be for naught. My work unfinished. All this knowledge lost. What do you got for stuff? We looked at this before, but we have tons of stuff to sell now, so oddity after oddity after oddity after oddity. We're gonna have a lot of money after this, though. Alright, that looks like it. So how much money do we have? 4,000 shins.
Yes.
Not too bad. Alright, let's try and put this thing together. I'm going to attempt to insert the transdimensional power source into the handle. Oh, it's a speed thing. Okay. I'm just gonna 100% this one for sure.
I'm ready to become even
You take
more
out the
heroic.
cylinder that you had found in the crash Katina and try and slide it into the compartment on the hilt. Initially, it looks as though it won't quite fit, but you discover that if you press the cylinder gently against the opening, it gradually resizes itself and fits neatly inside. A small, fine blade of pure transdimensional energy sprouts from the hilt. You realize that this device is a scalpel. With a twist of the hand, this blade can quickly be switched on or off. Let's pocket the weapon. It might be a really good weapon for Matkina, actually. It is a light melee weapon with transdimensional damage, plus 3 per esotery, and then it does a whole bunch of really cool things. It's much better than her current weapon, and I think that looks awesome. Cool. Sold. And Eritus gained a level, which is also good. We're also going to send Rin on her way. I know. I read that, and I was heartbroken, and I kind of wish I had waited and experienced it for myself, and I feel kind of shitty for ruining that for myself, but... You, no. Yeah. What's Fell Swoop do again? Arc in front of you, weapon damage to all enemies who fail to evade. Okay, fine, we'll do that one. Let's go see if we can chop this open. Nope. It's dead. It's actually dead, so we can't cut it open. I read about the transdimensional blade because it was interesting. I fell into the Wikipedia trap. I was looking at something and I saw something else neat and I kept reading. Luckily I didn't delve too far. I stopped myself pretty fast, but
Yes.
I did learn about Rin and I did learn about the transdimensional blade. I'm going to cut open Aintazon's maw with a transdimensional scalpel and send Rin home. You lunge at the man, yank aside his clothes, and run the scalpel through the maw's fiber slips. The bloom howls in fury, and the red walls around you clench and shake. Rin screams, and yet Aintazon's eyes are glazed over. He seems oddly unaware of what you are doing to him. The maw peels open. You squint as a sudden bright light filters into the darkness of the bloom. You breathe involuntarily as a sharp, pungent smell strikes your nostrils. As your eyes adjust, you see the green grass, bushes, and trees. So many trees. It seems like Aintazon isn't even there anymore. Just this window into another world. She stares, tears falling freely down her face. She looks at you and her face falls. I don't know what to do. She looks to the maw and then back at you again. Now that I'm here, go, Rin. It's your home, your family. Thank you, thank you, thank you. She lunges forward, throwing her arms around you. She squeezes you tightly, crying into your chest for several moments. Finally, she pulls away and puts something into your hand. I made a god for you, a god of friends and fighting. I don't know how strong he is, but maybe he'll help us see each other again someday. Come on, I wanted to show you everything. She steps forward, oblivious or unheeding to the fact that she's walking into a person. She doesn't care. She's finally home. The maw seals itself shut behind her, shaking and dazed. Aintazon closes now, bloody clothing over the wounded maw, and gives you a tremulous smile. He seems blissfully unaware that anything just happened. And now we don't have Rin. Aww. Man. Well, we need a new character, I guess. I'm gonna take, what's a tree sigil? The button depresses only slightly. You hear a brief shriek that sounds like Rin, then the button stubbornly rises again. Examining it more closely, you notice two small concentric circles lying at the foot of the tree. It looks suspiciously like Rin's god, Al. Suddenly, a flashlight forces you to shield your eyes. When you look again, the circles and the tree sigil are gone. Oh. I guess we're gonna, take Tiber?
Deadly little thing, isn't it?
I'm not happy. What does he use for weapons? What is he even? He's a tier 2 unit. I'm not using a tier 2 unit. Screw that. We're gonna send him back. How do I do that? Tiber, just... I'm gonna get Calistage.
This place. A man likes to see a nice blue sky over his head, possibly with several naked lads and lasses in the way, asking if I had a nice nap and would like a drink. Not intestines and the like. Hope you're not planning a long stay.
Only as long as it takes to find the first cast-off. Ah, so the rest of our short and painful lives then. Fine, fine. I'm sending you back. We'll take Calistage, I guess. Or... She was tier 4, so she's actually good. Let's take a look at our other character that we used to use a lot, Algern.
Ready to test this out. Yeah?
Algern is tier 2 as well. It's not good, really. I'll take Calistage, I guess. I'm so bummed we don't have Rin anymore. She was an amazing healer. I liked her. I would have been a lot meaner without her around. Goodbye, Algern. Calistage was at least tier 4, so she'll be more useful, hopefully.
This should be useful. My thing.
No, she's tier 1. Who was I looking at before? I must have been looking at my main character. Tier 1 is even worse. Oh man, our group sucks now. I guess we're taking Tiber?
Well then, farewell. For now.
Yeah, we'll
You
bring
won't be
Tiber along.
gone
This is a disappointment and a half. I'm gonna cut you open and bring Rin back. Maw guy. Alright, Tiber.
Deadly little thing, isn't it?
Yeah, whatever. I need items for you. Do I have a medium weapon kicking around at all? I don't. What's your main pool? Speed? What's your weapon? It's a might weapon. Where's that thing? Are you good with artifacts? No, you're not. I don't want to lose any might. What's your edge in? Speed. Why is your edge in speed? You're not very good at it. Oh, well, whatever. You know what? We'll just drag him along. We don't really need him. We have good characters. We don't need some second-rate rogue.
Maddie, I was wondering.
Let's
No
talk to
one's
Herja.
called me Maddie in a long time. No one alive, that is.
The striking woman towers over you. Though she seems gaunt and her skin is pale, even whitish, she still has a healthy glow that shines through a layer of dirt and grime. A flat circle of metal is affixed to her forehead, showing through her long blonde hair. As you approach, she begins to flex and tense. Not in fear, but in preparation to fight. The crossed swords etched upon her armor remind you of a book you were given by Felinda in Circus Minor. This formidable woman bears the sigil of the Angulan Knights, an order known for its devotion to justice and its desire to reclaim the world for humanity, but they also persecute abhumans and mutants. She glowers. Have you come to beat the poor prisoner? Then be ready to tell your friends about the day Herja bested you. Then she studies you more closely. Or have you come to question me? Tell Koto that my answer is unchanged. He can rot in his soup. She pauses for a moment. I would appreciate an honest soup. The food they provide here is that would shame a Murden. Maybe I can help you. I told the mutants the truth, she has you carefully. I have nothing to hide. The sigil on your armor is the sign of the Angulan Knights. Are you one of them? She gasps. You've heard of us all the way out here? We are many, many kilometers from Steadfast, even from the beyond, and I have not met another who has heard of my order. What are you doing here? These mutants have accused me of a crime. They tell me that I must confess to this imaginary horror before they will let me go. So here I sit rotting away while they ask me to choose between the truth and my freedom. She rolls her shoulders and looks you squarely in the eye. I choose to honor the truth. The exit's just over there. You could easily overpower the mutants. Why don't you just go? For a moment, her eyes threaten to tear. Then she steels herself. Prince Garkoto has cast a spell on me. Here, let me show you. She steps towards you, reaching a hand out to grasp your shoulder, but before she can touch you, her fingers begin to bend as if they had encountered an invisible wall. You see? But in case you think I jest with you, she hurls herself at you, shoulder first, and rebounds dramatically, staggering backwards. I am confined to the space until I confess. Test it for yourself. You lift your hand and wave it through the air. You can even step close to her, and you feel nothing. She takes your hand and says, now step back. You do, and at the same point where she rebounded from the air, her hand is torn from yours. They have to have their criminal, she says. I suppose I fit their bill. Why have you been imprisoned? Because they require someone to blame for some deaths among their people, and they chose me. The scum look for someone different from them, and I happen to be nearby. She barks an unpleasant laugh. At this point, I'm inclined to show them what kind of horrors I could visit upon them. Let's talk about the allegations. The mutants claim that I poisoned them. A number of them died, and they decided that I was to blame. She frowns. That is all they are. Allegations. Garkoto has no right to imprison me. I don't think you're telling me everything. The mutants must have some reason to be suspicious of you. We have lots of intelligence. She studies you carefully, weighing your words against some internal barometer. At last she says, yes, it's true that I poisoned their water. I could not enter Niliash itself, but I had heard of this bastard offshoot of their clan. I wanted to slay one of the Fahat. I took the journey from Steadfast under considerable peril, and I brought death with me. This is the first time that I have tried something like this. I do not regret what I did. The mutant prince wishes me to show remorse, but he will not have the satisfaction. Farewell, Herja.
Look out below.
I don't agree with her methods, so let's go talk to Garkoto, I guess. We have a confession. You stand before a painted spherical tank, fashioned of metal and synth. The paint is old and cracking. Inside the tank is a murky liquid, or possibly a thickened gas, and every so often you can see a movement from a fluke, flipper, or strangely deformed arm within. A cleverly disguised grill on the front tank squawks out the distorted voice of the tank's occupant. It buzzes and moans, drawing out some words and shortening others in a burst of static. I am Garkoto, Prince of the Fahat, and their delegate here in Little Niliash. The voice spits and pops. You have my gratitude for averting the violence of the Memovira soldiers, but I must know, why did you act? It's the right thing to do. It takes a moment, but you identify the strange hissing from the grill as a kind of asthmatic laughter. The humans were most definitely in trouble, however the deaths would have transferred that trouble to me. And so you've saved me from an inconvenience, and for this, you have my gratitude. The bloom is dangerous now, and I would shield my people from that danger, as with the Memavira, I hope. The flux in the bloom, and thus the Memavira's weakness, is apparent in the instability of the maws we use for trade and transport. The old maws are closing, and new ones open to take their place. There is a new maw here in Little Nilish, one I would like to see opened, but the Memavira refuses to aid me. She won't even leave her fortress. But I have said enough. What would you have from me? Herja admitted her crime to me. I see. In truth, it was not mere confirmation of her crime that I sought. I wanted her to face her victims and admit what she did. Only then would I know she feels anything for them, if she is truly human or not. The voice chuckles. A strange thing for a creature in a tank to be concerned with. Still, I thank you for helping me. What was the proximate cause of the fight between the Memavira's soldiers and your people? The tank's grill spits a shower of sparks. The bloom no longer favors the Memavira. The bloom is the source of the Memavira's power. If she has no power, the obligations to pay for her protection has vanished. We pay for reality, not promises. The distorted voice crackles with an electric sigh. Perhaps our people have grown tired of the humans taking. Where'd your people come from? Our home is the city of Nilish, in the steadfasts beyond. My cousins of the Fahat rule over the three-tier city wisely and well. When a Maw portal opened in Nilish, we investigated to see if we might eke out a profit. We saw enough possibility that our explorer sent for me, a minor prince of the Fahat. I was to head to this trade embassy. The speaker makes a slightly embarrassed noise. I did not think that the Maw would close behind us, but 10 years ago it did. Tell me of Steadfast. You ask much of me. I can tell you only what I have heard, for our glorious city is in what they call the Beyond. The Steadfast is a collection of kingdoms, principalities, and other less denominations of feudalism, held together through the dictates of their religion, the Order of Truth. The Aeon priests of the Order have spread their faith far and wide. I hear they even have established a foothold in the city of Sage's Cliffs. Tell me about the Fahat. My brethren are blessed mutants, each diverging into new pathways for humanity. We rule over the city of Nilish, using the powers bestowed by our remarkable births to lead normal humanity into an age of possibilities. New age of possibilities. We are close in spirit, yet rivals in politics, for the truth of a mutation lies in the ability to prove its use. The subtleties of our machinations are lost here, alas. Tell me more about Nilish. The speaker is silent for a moment. The city was once a machine, a colossal device that creates churn. We built atop the machine, creating elaborate structures and impossible architectures, and our city grew into the sky. The great and powerful of Nilish live among the fluted spires and the arcing byways, with powered cars lifting us to the skies in a moment. The shops and palaces of our people, alas, to think that they might die, to think that I might die one day away from my home. The voice goes very quiet. What other questions? Why are the malls changing and closing? Do you ask for my knowledge or my conjecture? If the first, then I must confess my ignorance. If the second, Garkoto pauses, considering, and the grill hisses and sparks when the mutant speaks again. If the second, I believe the bloom has a feeding cycle. It is an enormous organism, you know, and I suggest that these events are part of a larger pattern. The mutant's vast bulk shifts in the tank. Perhaps the bloom is preparing itself for a new Memavira. Do you want to take that place? Garkoto's laughter spills out in a static hiss. I do not desire such responsibility, nor do I seek the attentions of the bloom.
I'll
Farewell.
remember that.
As you turn, the speaker buzzes once more. In case word has not reached your ears, I'm offering a bounty to the first who can open the newborn maw and tell me what lies on the other side. The voice pauses. Of course, the first step is to discover what the maw wishes to eat. Without that knowledge, it cannot be opened. I'll look into it.
At last.
Let's go talk to Herja again. Maybe we can solve this conundrum. I asked what she can tell me about Garkoto. The mutant prince? I need to remember that the mutant is both male and female, swims in disgusting stew of a tank, bathing in its own filth, and somehow it summons powers that keep the rest of its creatures in line. They say Garkoto was a wizard. I didn't believe them until the mutant imprisoned me with his powers. What can you tell me about the Angulan Knights? Her face lights with passion. The symbol of our order represents our willingness to step beyond the bounds of propriety and advance the cause of humanity. She looks around and lowers her voice. Actual humanity, you know? She tosses her hair. If we must take up the blade to mete out justice, we do not hesitate. We travel Midgard for the betterment of all, and those who oppose our mission soon see the error of their ways. In the steadfast, the order of truth blesses itself. I am a knight marshal in our organization. I have proved myself many times over, and I will continue to do so as long as I draw breath. She leans back, her eyes closing. Our hunger for justice brings a great physical hunger as well. One council, I recall, they brought us fresh waters distilled from the dew of mountains, roasted and spiced anine, and exotic flaming cheeses. We do not ask for any of these. We aid, but sometimes their largesse humbles me.
You won't notice.
Do we have anything left to do for this? Nothing along those lines. We have no quests that regard her at all. Okay, so not a lot else around, actually. There's of course the new Ma, which we can go talk to. And there's also this machine. Let's go do the machine first. We're almost out of time, so maybe the Ma conversation would be a bit long. A construct lies motionless and partly disassembled here, spider-like legs splayed around it. A piece of knowledge clicks into place. This was a creature known as an Accelerator, a machine intelligence housed in a mechanical frame. Although they appear fearsome, the creatures are terrified of death and are always seeking new technology to incorporate into themselves in the hope of prolonging their lives. While searching for anything useful. You search for a few moments but find nothing of value. Scavengers must have long ago picked apart this construct. Absently, you lay your hand upon the metal shell to push yourself away from the wreck and feel a faint intermittent vibration. Let's find out what that is. Putting your shoulder up against one of the construct's vertical vents, you reach into the dark, probing carefully, following the vibrations rippling towards you. Straining, you walk your fingers up the mesh-swaddled objects, across the cable to a partially crushed cube, strung with frayed wires. You recognize the cube as the construct's intelligence casing. It was catastrophically and perhaps deliberately damaged. The construct is well and truly dead. You carefully shift a loose hunk of metal from the cube's surface aside and keep looking for the source of the vibration. A wave of wordless sorrow washes over you, tinged with flecks of hope. Your gaze shifts back to your hand and the hunk of metal, and the alien emotion came through it into you. As if summoned by the thought, a small floating sphere drifts into view. It prods at the cube with a beam of light, then vibrates softly. So let it do its thing. The sphere drifts around the dead construct, occasionally halting to, yes, its repairing damage, as if patching holes in the armor will bring its host back to life. Every few moments, it returns to the broken cube and attempts to repair it again. When nothing happens, the sphere vibrates, and when that happens, you hear a soft series of whirring clicks. You listen to the soft clicking for a long while until you realize that you're making the sounds yourself beneath your breath, speaking the words of grief in the machine's tongue. I'm sorry, I forgot. Come back. Come back. You pull the communication module from the surface of the cube, and the sphere follows, shivering in the open air. It turns as if taking in the ruined Hulk one last time, then it settles into your open palm obediently, shuddering. There's nothing else to do here. The remains of the construct lie here, and we put the details together. We noticed several scattered piles of refuse and burnt holes in the back of its armor. The construct was likely cornered here and tried to flee up the mounds of trash rather than fight its tormentors. They attacked it from behind, and it fell, either dead or dying. You peer between the plates into the carcass's interior. Judging by the scratches, gouges, and broken components you see inside, someone purposefully jammed a blunt pole into the construct's innards in an attempt to crush its vital systems. Whether this happened before or after its death is unclear. Alright. So that is that. The Surgeon Sphere grants the ability to heal 2 to 6 points of health per round. Active for 5 rounds. Well, that's actually kind of fancy.
Fine.
Alright. So we do have that maw. But there are other things we need to do first. Probably. We have a couple other side quests to worry about, and we're going to do most of them in the next video. So for now, we're going to call it a day. Like always, if you have any suggestions or comments, please leave them below. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next time. Take care.